Hello and welcome to this YouTube Live. My name is Ashley Rose and I'm so excited to be here today. Today I am doing an Airtable Ask Me Anything about all things client management. So I have a couple of pre-submitted questions as well as some things I wanted to show you. But really, if you are here live, feel free to use the chat to ask any questions. I will share anything about Airtable that you want to know. So before we get started, my name is Ashley. I have been an Airtable expert for the online coaching industry for the last 4 or 5 years now, since 2020. And Airtable is amazing for managing all aspects of your business. I have not used a single spreadsheet in my business in a long, long time. I use zero Google Forms. I don't use Typeform. I use Airtable for all of my forms, all of my spreadsheet alternatives. It all is an Airtable, and Airtable is absolutely a game changer for specifically your client management. We also handle all of our sales tracking in there, our leads tracking, launches, just really everything. We use and love Airtable for all of it. So I'm really excited to chat about today just some like random questions about Airtable that I get a lot, and just to make sure that everybody is on the same page and is excited. So if you're here live, hello, it is so good to see you. And if you are catching the replay, go ahead and put any comments in the comment section about Airtable and Airtable questions, because we look at those as well. So I wanted to just really quickly go over what Airtable is. It's pretty straightforward. Specifically, like the pricing, that's the first question that I know a lot of you asked me about, which was just like, what plan should I be on? How much can I do on the free plan? So I'm actually going to share my screen and just look at the pricing and talk about pricing really quick. So it is currently October 18th, 2024. Obviously, Airtable can change their pricing at any time. But here is kind of what we see now. Let me grab that. Cool. So you should be able to see this. So Airtable's pricing, free, team, and business. There's also enterprise. I have very, very little clients who need to use enterprise. So if you are a coach, so I really work with coaches anywhere from like 0 clients, so like $0 in revenue, to like millions, 5 million in revenue annually. Airtable can really handle all of your client management needs. I have never met a client who has had thousands and thousands of people in their membership, for example, that should be using something better or more robust, or like Airtable really is the best option, whether you're just getting started or whether you have thousands and thousands of clients. So if we look at the pricing, really the biggest thing that I find is that you just need to upgrade depending on how much space you need in a base. So you can absolutely get started on the free plan. And that's what I recommend, just because, you want to try out Airtable, you may not be sold on it yet. You can get started for free, but you're going to start to very quickly see how special Airtable is, and you're going to want to upgrade. Airtable absolutely is one of the like best investments you can have in your business because of all the things it can do. So the free plan, the biggest difference between the free plan and the team plan, I manage everything in my business on Airtable, like I said, and I just use the team plan. So I pay $24 a month just for the team plan. And the free plan has 1,000 records per base. The team plan has 50,000 records per base. And then the business plan has 125,000 records per base. So a record is basically like a spreadsheet line, if you will. So 1,000 records, that can get eaten up pretty quickly, especially if, let's say, you have a coaching program that has 100 active clients in it, or 100 clients of all time, and each one of those is submitting a weekly client tracking form, and they have a couple of questions that they ask each week, and they're submitting the questions. Those records can really start to add up. So I do see people hit that 1,000 record limit relatively quickly, but 50,000 people can pretty much they can stay with that for a while. We do have a handful of people, especially if you're using Airtable to track maybe your leads or your sales and you have a really high volume business, you might want to upgrade to business. But really, people can hang out on the teams plan for like years and years and years. The other big reason to upgrade is automation runs. So you have 100 automation runs on the free plan, and you have 25,000 automation runs on the team plan. So this is especially if you're doing like a historical data import or something, and you have 100 clients that you want to like do some automations with, you're gonna hit the limits on the free plan relatively quickly. So the free plan works for a while, but when you're ready, you can totally upgrade. And like I said, $24 a month for how robust Airtable is as a system is absolutely 100% worth it. Beautiful. Hi, everybody. I am, we're diving into Airtable Q&As. And yes, Catherine says in the chat, automations are 100% worth it. And so that's relatively, like, I hope that answers about pricing. Just like start to scale as you go. There's a couple people in the chat and we're going to answer their questions as this isn't Ask Me Anything. So feel free to, Catherine, Morgan, everybody else in the chat, drop your questions and we will use your questions as the guide for today. Catherine asks, hey, Ashley, would you suggest using Airtable as a client portal or is that a no? That is a fantastic question. So Airtable for client management is really great for like backend management. And what specifically is relevant now, so this is like a kind of a nuanced question, is that we actually, and let me stop sharing my screen with the pricing so I can kind of, I can show you how we're using it as a support ticket system. Airtable now has interfaces. Interfaces are super cool, super innovative, but you have to basically have your clients have to have an Airtable account to like start to like read and look at and interact with the data. So because we teach Airtable, it's very easy for me to say, okay, hey, we're gonna have like a client portal in here that you can use and like it like lives in your Airtable. So let me actually show you what that looks like. I think this will be like interesting for y'all to see. Let's see. And Morgan says, wondering if you have any suggestions for any personal training clients and their workouts versus another workout delivery software. Oh yeah, Morgan, I actually do have personal training clients. I'll get to that in a second. So let me share this with you. Screen. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So here is an example of, this is like my tester account. I was able to share a read-only interface with our clients. And so you'll see what this looks like. This is kind of what the client portal would look like. So your clients would just have to have an Airtable account to use this. So that's something that you can tell people in your onboarding of like, hey, we use Airtable. They can be on the free version of Airtable. But if you want them to be able to access something like this, then they would need to be logged into Airtable. So Airtable's putting so many resources, so many cool resources and updates into interfaces. This is called like an overview page, I think. So this is like our support ticketing system. So if you are a client of mine and you buy our support pass, you get access to like a personal SOS support ticketing center. This is all built in Airtable and it's all visible to them in their own Airtable account, which is really cool. So you can see things, you can have like different pages in the interface. So you can have a call schedule. So if they like book one-on-one calls with you, they can see like the calls that they have here. Then you can also have a dashboard that has like their support ticketing access or whatever it would like look like for you guys. So we have the client's start date, the number of days of access they have, and their support end date. They have access to all of like their support tickets that they can see. This is like very cutting edge Airtable stuff because the way that we've used interfaces is new. We actually rolled this out to all of our clients yesterday, and we've gotten really good like results and feedback from it. So you can see like this is the person's questions that they have. And then we also have like a public support database. So if they want to share it to like the broader community, they can see that as well. So you totally can build something like this. All of this is built right inside of Airtable. And yeah, so that's something that you can totally build. It's pushing the limits of Airtable a little bit and people have to be on an Airtable account, but let me see what other questions y'all have. Since I want to share coaching info model, session notes, sounds like it might be a fit for an interface, but only if they're okay with signing up. Yes, so if they sign up with an Airtable account, you can give them this. Another thing that you can do, which let me stop sharing my screen just so I don't get any client data facing, but you can actually give them like view only grid views. So you can play with that as well. So let me show you what that looks like. This is fun. This is so nerdy and specific, but it's cool to like hear the questions of like, can Airtable do this? Because the answer is almost always yes. It's just figuring out what you want it to do. So one sec, let me make sure I've got perfect. Okay, great. Let me share a screen. So a way that you can give them some like update, like some views without them like really having to log into an Airtable account is by doing having your one-on-one calls. So if you've never used Airtable before, we really recommend having a client management hub where everything about your clients live, so you can kind of share with clients different views and what they need to see, and everything is centralized in one spot. So this is our client management hub. A template is incoming. We're launching this template on October 31st. So if you're like, yes, I absolutely need this, then this is something that we'll have available to you. But if you had everybody's call notes here, something else you can do is you can create a grid view, and let's call it Victoria's shareable view, right? You can filter this to see where all of the calls, where the email contains email. This would then just show Victoria VIP's calls, right? You can hide things that aren't relevant. So let's say we want to have first name, last name, call date, and link and notes or something like that. So you can create a shareable view here, and you can give them this link. So then every time, like basically, and you could put this in their onboarding doc, or you could put it in their emails and saying like, every time you want to see what's going on, you can have like just like that one shareable link there, and they can see everything that's inside of Airtable, but just in that specific view. And they can always, what's cool about it is that they can filter down, but they can't filter up. So like the client could sort and say, they could filter to say where I want to see where this call date is today, but they can't take out the email and say, I want to see all of Ashley's like clients that are in her one-on-one calls table, if that makes sense. So that's definitely something you can do as well. And what I like about this as well is like you can have like so many different options. Like you can have an attachment field that you said like session notes, client notes, all of those things. You can add as much as you'd like, and then they're able to kind of open it up and see what's going on there. Let me know if that answers your question, Catherine, if there's anything you want to see. Yes. That's amazing. I'm thinking of replacing my client management system in the Airtable, and this might just do it. Thank you. P.S. The content hub has been amazing, saving me from so many ideas and links. Yes, we have a content hub as well. We have a lot of different Airtable resources because like I said, I'm all in on Airtable. I've been all in on Airtable since 2020. I do not use a single spreadsheet in my business. I use it for content. I use it for everything. Client management is such an amazing tool for client management. So that's what we were focusing on today, but I will answer any Airtable questions you've got. Awesome. Valentina asks, do you think it's possible to replace Dubsado with Airtable? That is a fantastic question I'll get into, but I want to tackle Morgan's question of, would you have any suggestions for managing personal training clients and their workouts? So what I love to do is look at what your current workout delivery software does, and then see if you can replicate that inside of Airtable. What's almost always true is that you can, and it's actually like more flexible and more robust, because a lot of the softwares that are built for a specific industry, so for example, workout delivery, it's like too rigid. And so we can build what you like about the other workout delivery software and make it like more robust inside of Airtable. So something you could totally do, Morgan, just as like an example, is you can actually, like, I would recommend when the template drops, grabbing this client management template and using it as the basis for that. So you'd have each of your clients has a primary client record. And then similar to what I just had with the one-on-one calls, you would have something like a table called like workouts, for example. So you would have each workout and the date that they should do that workout, all of those things. Then you can give them a view and say, hey, here is your workouts for the week. You can also, what's really cool about Airtable is that you can give people things in different views. So you can make a gallery view if like you want to show them, like you could have a gallery of all of your workouts and all of the workout types, or if you have your own personal videos that maybe you host on YouTube or something like that. If you're like, if you have a question about how this workout should be done, look into our like workout database, and you have this amazing database that's all housed inside of Airtable. There's just so many cool things you can do with it to really centralize every part of your coaching client like workflow right inside of Airtable. So that's what I would recommend, is absolutely Airtable can be built to be really whatever you want it to look like. And yes, so you're talking about this database of movements. I want them to be able to submit what exercise and weights they should use as results metric tracking. That's fantastic. Morgan, you can absolutely do that. We have basically, you would definitely want like a results tracker. You'd have like almost like a workout tracker in here. So Airtable has forms. So you would have them select like Select the workout. Like, you would probably want them to submit the form if you really want to be super granular with the way that they track. And it also just depends on how they can do it in the workout, but they can like select the workout from a drop down, and then they can select the weights and the reps that they've done. And then you have, over time, you're able to track all of that and see like you've increased your bicep curls by X%. Like, that's totally something that you could track inside of Airtable. There is some things like some of your other like workout apps might be like more intuitive to build that in. But if you wanted to be able to do a lot with that information, there's definitely interesting ways you can do it inside of Airtable for sure. Okay, so Morgan, if you have any questions about that, Morgan and Catherine, the things that we just touched on, please let me know. I'm happy to nerd out about like workout database or client management, anything like that. Valentina, the question is, do you think it is possible to replace Dubsado with Airtable? So if you don't know what Dubsado is a like business management solution. They do automations. They sign contracts, collect payments, create custom forms. So there are specific things about Dubsado that you can't replace with Airtable, but Airtable and Dubsado work very well together. So the biggest thing that Dubsado can do, the only thing that you should do in Dubsado, is invoicing and contracts. That's it. So Airtable cannot take your payments. So Airtable can't take payments, and Airtable can't sign contracts. However, what you want to do is, if you have Dubsado or if you have Honeybook or something like that, you do not use them as your client management portal. Because what is trash about Dubsado, and what is really important as you start to build your business, is you want to make sure that you can like see everything about your clients in one central spot. You can zoom in on Ashley, but that you can zoom out and see all of your clients and how they're all doing. Dubsado is really, really bad at like being able to export information and exporting client profiles. It's good at pricing, and it's good at payments, and it's good at contracts. But especially with forms, they have a really robust form builder, but all of the information just like lives in silos in their client profiles in Dubsado. So it's not a client management system, and it's not a client management hub. It should just be used as a tool to send contracts and take payments. But what you can do, how Airtable and Dubsado work together, is you can say, when I've got a new payment in Dubsado, add them into my Airtable client management hub, which is kind of what I was just showing. So you still want Airtable to be your source of truth, and you want Airtable to live. Let me see what that looks like. So it'd be like, when there's a new client payment, create a client record in my Airtable, and then all of the forms are going to live inside of Airtable instead of living in Dubsado, because Dubsado is just not the best tool, not the most scalable tool for that. But yeah, I personally use Dubsado, but how we use it is truly what we can also do from Airtable is we say, I have my leads form, for example. So the form when people are curious about working with me, that's actually an Airtable form. And that form lives like in our applications table. And then after the application, after they're like approved, I can say to accept, and Airtable automation is going to accept them and create a Dubsado like workflow essentially that is going to send them a contract that's customized to them, pulling in the data from Airtable. And then when they pay, it kind of like it closes the loop and brings them back into Airtable. So that's how you use both of them together. Morgan has a follow-up question on the results tracking for workouts. So would you be able to share the metrics with them, or if you have any other fun ideas when it comes to mind for tracking health or strength metrics with my online clients? Yes. So Morgan, it really depends on what you're doing now. But totally, what's really cool about Airtable is that your results tracker, so every time they submit a workout, it gets connected to their primary client record. So they fill it out. You'll be able to see, by using all of this data, because everything's connected, you can say, when is the last time Ashley submitted a workout? What's the max amount of reps that she submitted? Again, it would be a little more intricate, just depending on like the types of workouts you have, and be figuring out like what are the metrics that you care about, and how we could, like, if they're doing different exercises, like how are you tracking, like how do you want to basically track their progress. But there's definitely a lot you could do there, but let's keep it like simple for now. Let's say you want them to submit 3 workouts a week. They would submit those workouts in their client results tracker. They'd say, I did my workout and my workout was, I PR'd or I didn't PR, or like figuring out what are those metrics that you could track. Again, Airtable could track granularly, but just in simplicity, if you had the form that said, when did you do the workout? Did you feel strong during this workout? How long was the workout? Let's say those 3 metrics. Then your Airtable client records can say when they submit their third workout that week, it can automatically send them an email. It's like, hey, you did it. You worked out 3 times this week. Like, here's your breakdown. You worked out for a total of 90 minutes. You PR'd three workouts, or whatever you want it to look like. It's really kind of figuring out, what do you want that those celebration emails to look like, and what metrics do you want to track, and then being able to reverse engineer it from there. So really, you totally can build out pretty much anything you want inside of Airtable, and that's what's like the beautiful part about it. Outside of some of like probably the other like tracking systems, is that you just don't have the same flexibility. I I think, Morgan, specifically for you, with how detailed you would like probably want their workouts, like their details to be, I would say like those client portals and that interface, and teaching them how to log into Airtable and creating a free Airtable account would actually be really really beneficial for them, because then they could see over time. Let me share a different part of my screen and kind of use our support ticketing system as a what's it called, as a model for yours. So like this one, for example, you could say like your workouts, and says like, here's their workouts. And then they can actually open this up and they could see like, here's the exercises that I did for that workout, and like kind of really be able to play with that. The biggest thing to note is that they wouldn't, this is a view only interface. There's a lot of like intricate things you can do using the format called fill out to like, that they could update things, but really this is view only for them unless you pay per user at that point. So it'd be like $24 per client per month for you to have edit access for them. So there is that creative constraint of how can you just kind of make this a view only thing for them. But they could see like let's say that you could group by exercise. So Sales Hub is bicep curl. It's like, here's every time you did a bicep curl, here's the differences in strength. There's different charts you could do. So there's a lot of fun things that you could play with there for sure. So would you say do this versus having something like Softer to create it? Yeah, I think that Airtable, every week they're doing better things to interfaces. I would try to start with like Airtable interfaces for sure, because even if you use Softer, you would want to like to create that client portal, you'd still have to give them like a specific link that is specific to them to make sure that they like are only seeing their workouts. So it's kind of the same like training and onboarding, if you will. So I would try, if you can, to use Airtable's interfaces the best you can. But if it truly can't do what you want it to do, or you like want a little bit more branding capabilities, then Softer is an option for that. And for those of you who don't know what Softer is like a client portal, client no code app builder that you can use to create a client portal as well. But I've really liked now that, and you can see they look. Let's see if it shows us any. It just has like a little more branding capabilities and all of those things. So you really can play with either. But I personally am like, if Airtable can do it, and it looks like more and more they're really trying to be that all-in-one option for that, then I would try Airtable first and then just use a Softer if you need it. Let's see. Catherine asks, is there a community or group app that would connect to Airtable if I want to create a short community with access to videos? I could use Teachery, but I'd like Airtable to keep track of progress. Yes. So if you are looking for, this is a great question, just surrounding like kind of like what software, like what client management tech works best with Airtable. I have found that specifically for communities, there's 2 that I recommend. So I'm going to look at Circle. and I'm going to show you Slack. So those are the two community, like pop-up community groups I would recommend. Circle is absolutely the most robust, but it is a little bit more cost prohibitive. So you'll see here, like they have so many different, they have so many different automation triggers. So you can see like if there's a new comment posted, you could send it over to Airtable and connect it to their client record. If you're handling the payments, you can do that in there, but we're specifically talking about community. So anytime there's like a new comment posted or a new event RSVP or a new post, or if you're handling the lessons, I know you mentioned you're doing that in, I think it's Teachable or Teachery, but you can totally use Circle. Circle's a really great, robust one. And then Slack as well. This is something that a lot of my clients have Slack channels, but they want to know, like, are people using the Slack channel for coaching? You can absolutely automate when there is new comments and there's new messages and there's just like new movement inside of your Slack channel. You can add that into your Airtable client management hub, and every time somebody posts something in your community group, it tags it to their client's like primary student record. And then you can open up their client profile, and let me show you what the client profile looks like. And then you can see like, okay, here's the last time they interacted in Slack. Here's the last time they made a Circle post, just so you kind of have that really robust picture of what your clients are doing inside of your program. Yes. Yeah, Catherine said, I'm not sure if Slack might overwhelm my people, to be honest, but I like it too. It's community groups. It's such an interesting balance because you want to be able to meet, like, it only works. It only works if people are using the community. Also, I know I need to get a new mic. I'm working on it. I hate Facebook groups for automation purposes, but for some community groups, it's really important. Like they only live on Facebook. Like a lot of mom groups, like those are like your people live on Facebook. And so you have to use it. But there's not a way, let's see if they're any better. Facebook group, Zapier. Let's see if they're any better now. So sometime, let's see, there's not a ton. Oh, this is Facebook ads integrations. But basically, the biggest thing that I've seen with Facebook groups is like they don't let you, if they let you bring in the comment from the Facebook group into Airtable, something with their security and their API, it doesn't bring in the name of the person. So like you can bring in the name, you can bring in the content, but you can't bring in the name. And so that's not super helpful. So Facebook groups, while a lot of people are on them, can't get into Airtable. So it's just really depending on like this balance of like how will the people use the community group, and can you automate that into Airtable? Yes, Facebook and WhatsApp are their top votes so far. Yep, and that's just a balance that you have to walk, Catherine. Of like, I personally would like kind of a workaround you can do is, and this just depends on your capacity and what you have going on, but you can like go into a Facebook group and you can use Airtable's web clipper option. And what you can do is like you can like capture the messages that are inside of people's like inside of the Facebook group. You can kind of log them and go drop them into Airtable, but that would be more like a weekly admin task instead of having that be automated. So it really just depends. It's kind of a balance of, I am definitely all for automation, but I also understand there's like a holistic, like it's a holistic recommendation, right? We're going to ask, do you have a suggestion for private client management software that integrates well with Airtable? So depends on, I know specifically in the online wellness world, some of our clients use PushPress. I don't know if you've heard of that, Morgan, but it's like a workout software. We've been having some issues with it. So it's not like the most foolproof. But I would, anytime you're like looking for a client management software that maybe it's more industry specific, I would just always Google like that software plus Zapier. So PushPress Zapier integrations and seeing what's possible there, because then you can see like if it integrates with Zapier, we can get that information out of Zapier, out of the software and into Airtable. So that's really what we want to see. So I don't have too many suggestions for like private client management software that integrates well with Airtable, because we just use Airtable as much as we can. However, we worked with PushPress. We worked with course platforms, which are kind of the same thing. And then Dubsado, which we don't use as a client management software, but it handles like contracts and payments. So really understanding like what you want it to do that Airtable can't do, and then making sure that it's Zapier compatible so we can get the data out of the software and into Airtable. Awesome. Any other questions, y'all? This has been super, super cool, super insightful. If you have any questions about Airtable in general, client management in general, specific tech that you're working with, I'm happy to tackle that. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This was a blast. Again, if you need any Airtable support, if you're a coach, you absolutely have to be using Airtable to manage your clients, and it'd be an honor to support you. And we hope to see you on the next lives. I hang out on Instagram all the time. I'm at Systems Over Stress on Instagram. So if you're an Instagram user, go ahead and DM me there. Just tackling the last questions. I would mostly want a private messaging the clients, payments, etc. Yeah, private messaging. Go ahead and try. I don't know any private messaging. There's like some called like Motion or something. Click around and play with it, but really, it also just depends on you. Want to also kind of balance the, like, how many apps do you want them to like use, and like sometimes it's like, okay, is a client going to log into this like fancy portal that you think is going to solve all their problems, and they would actually really just like a Google chat or a WhatsApp group or an email instead, and figuring out some of those balances. But for payments, you can use Stripe, you can use Dubsado, you can use Honeybook, playing around with some of those things. Awesome, y'all. It was so great to see you. I hope to see you in the next one, and have a great rest of your day.